before I get started, I'm going to ask the fellas to move up a little bit closer. Y'all must not like us or something. Did we do something to you? No, I'm playing. Just a few rows. Tonight's going to be a little different because we wanted everything to be a little bit inclusive, closing out the semester. I'm going to do like a really, really, really small message, and then we're going to go into some small discussion questions. So recently we've been under the topic of being under pressure, and tonight I wanted to talk about growing pains. In 1 Corinthians 13, chapter 13, verses 11 through 12, can everyone stand, please? 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 11 through 12 in the NIV reads, "When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, and I made plans like a child. When I became a man, I stopped those childish ways." Verse 12 reads, It is the same with us. Now we see God as if we are looking at a reflection in a mirror. But then in the future we will see him right before our eyes. Now I know only a part, but at the time I will know fully as God has known me. You guys can be seated. Right. So I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with growing pains. Growing pains is a physical stress on the body, which most likely is seen negatively and causes negative responses toward the body and the emotions of the person dealing with it. We typically experience growing pains as we are growing up in our younger years, and then it slowly dies down when we have reached full adulthood. But the growing pains I'm referring to does not have a deadline. But it is shown that even though the stress and the impact on the physical body and the many changes that it goes through, there is truly a lot to gain from being in pain. Growing pains aren't just physical, but they are also mental and emotional. Growing pains also require some type of elevation. When we are kids, we are having growing pains, and they show up as us getting taller or gaining more weight or slimming down. Some type of moving forward and reaching different heights. But sometimes we also can grow out of habits. We can grow out of people, relationships, and friendships, whether intimate or not. We can grow and sometimes leave the things that we thought were meant for us behind, and that's the pain part of growing pains. Sometimes we don't understand why or the need for separation, which can cause us to be upset and hurt emotionally from it. But in order to be better, to grow taller, wiser, smarter, and healthier, we have to grow past and above what we are settling for. What God has for you is greater, so we can stay so low where any and everything has access to us. Because not everyone and everything deserves access. At the same time, those things can stunt or delay your growth, which may make the pain worse if you allow yourself to go through it longer. Our goal isn't to get rid of these growing pains, but to endure and suffer them graciously. Suffering them graciously, my mom said this, suffering graciously means, yes, it hurts. I may not want to go through it, but I look good going through it. Like on the outside, everybody's watching how you're going through something, and they may never know you're going through something because you're suffering it graciously. Most of the time, if we stay where it doesn't benefit us, and if there was never any real push, we would ride it out until we couldn't anymore. We would still be at old jobs that didn't benefit, relationships that wouldn't benefit, and supporting people in things that don't have our best interests at heart. We have to understand that the growing pains are growing us, growing through us, and even growing us up. At some point, we got to let go of mom and daddy. We got to take the training wheels off, and we got to ride this thing on our own. We also should not hospitalize ourselves because of our pain. There's a short story. As a man was passing the elephants, he suddenly stopped, confused by the fact that these huge creatures were being held by only a small rope tied to their front leg. No chains, no cages. It was obvious that the elephants could at any time break away from their bonds, but for some reason, they did not. He saw a trainer nearby and asked why these animals just stood there and made no attempt to get away. Well, trainer said, when they were very young and much smaller, we used the same size rope to tie them, and at that age, it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they are conditioned to believe that they cannot break away. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they never try to break free. The man was amazed. These animals could at any time break free from their bonds, but because they believed they couldn't, they were stuck right where they were. No matter how much more they grew, the rope was still the same. They could break free from it at any time, at any age, but because they believed that I've had this since I was small, I'm going to continue to have this, I can't let go of it. But at any time, they could break away from that rope. Don't let your pain convince you that all you can feel is pain. Our growing pains in life won't stop, but it's about how we use it. You never know. Your growing pains can grow many things, like businesses or even impact lives, but we have to be willing to go through these things in order to get what God has for us. So tonight, I wanted to do a quick Q&A. There were some questions I was thinking about because I know it would be very cliche or general for me to say, what is Christianity? And I was trying to think of so many different questions. But tonight I want to get feedback. I want everybody to be vocal. This is an open space, a safe space. There is no wrong answer. So my first question that I had is, what are you currently being saved from? Yourself. Because sometimes we stand in the way of what's meant for us. We think, oh, I know what's best for me. No, God knows what's best for you. Sometimes we limit what we allow ourselves to have, but God ultimately knows what we are meant to have. We can stand in the way of ourselves. What are we also being saved from?
Some things it's just you don't really know what you're being saved from. There's things that you are doing that you think is okay, and not knowing that one wrong decision or one wrong turn can be detrimental, but God saving you from that one wrong decision or wrong turn.
Right.
So some things you don't know what you're being saved from.
Right. And I think that's like a really big blessing dealing with God, is that we can't see what we're being protected from, but we know we're being protected. It's like there's a lot of things that you probably have not seen. You may be harboring over the things you did see, but there are so many other things that you did not see that were bound to come your way. That's really good. Anybody else? What are you currently being saved from? All right. My next question is, what is your growing pain? Because even though I said, when we're younger, we grow taller, but in this season of your life, whether you feel like it's good or bad, what is your growing pain? Whether you feel like you're being separated from people, whether you feel like you're feeling disconnected, what is your growing pain? And sometimes that's really hard. Because I bet you some of those friends, they were your top dog. Top dog. So it's like sometimes the hardest goodbyes have to be like the biggest blessings, because that doesn't mean that takes away the love you had, the memories you share, but sometimes in order for you to be and take care of yourself, you got to separate yourself. And that's a hard thing to do, but that's the mature thing to do at the same time. So that takes real bravery. Anybody else growing pains?
I think reflection over it, like I'm in a season of, isolating whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so during that, it's just not trying to reach out to many people because I know God has me in this position for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And He does. And it's just reflecting back on what I came from or the things that I've done, or, just reflecting on those things that I can grow from. So
Right.
That is kind of messy.
Right.
But I'm leaning on God to get me through that because He's having me go through it.
Right. Reflection is a really big thing. When you see where you were and you kind of see where you are, you're grateful, but at the same time, you are also possibly beating yourself up. Like, how could I be so stupid? Why would I do this? But that's a part of the process, like reflecting back and not going back. That's another thing. Reflecting back, but also not going back. Using it as a part of, your story, your testimony. Anybody else? Growing pains? Okay. My next question is, what have you been praying about lately? There's no big or small prayer. I pray, did I get home tonight safely? I don't get no wreck. Big or small. Pray that you get a better job, Like you said, praying for better friends. What are y'all praying for? Mm-hmm. Okay. Balance. Yeah. And he'll give you the time to do that. But you got to be willing to take that. That's good. Did you have some, Jazz?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's my purpose to be like, I want God to like really shine on what my purpose is, like make that very clear to me, so I can really go into it. I have an idea, but I want to be sure.
Right.
And for God to like really speak to me in a way that
Right.
I know is
Right. And in order for him to speak, you got to be quiet. You got to be quiet. You got to be quiet. Yes, you can pray, but it's when he's silent, what are you doing about that? Even in his silence, there's an answer. So, yes, praying for that as well. Anybody else praying for anything?
I found myself praying for strength lately.
Yes.
Just like
Whew.
with temptations and other stuff, patience, like give me strength in different
Yes. Yes.
aspects of life.
And a lot of people think that like praying for like strength or things that people just seem small, it's really big. Because it's like a lot of people don't have the strength to want to get up to do anything during the day. So praying for strength, like give me the strength to get up, give me the strength to go to class, give me the strength to try to keep a smile on my face in front of these people, give me the strength to keep going to my job. Like it takes so much out of us during the day. We need to be praying for strength. We need to be praying for everything. Is there anybody else? Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Mental strength is a different type of strength. Of course, we're talking about, we usually think of like physical strength when we're talking about strength. But also like mental strength, that's a lot stronger than the physical strength. Because in order for me to get up out of bed, I have to have it in my mind first that I'm going to get up. So it requires a different type of strength to deal with your mind and to deal with yourself. What was my last question? I think I had one more question. All right. What is the biggest thing that this week alone has taught you? We went through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're in Thursday, and we still got 3 more after this.
with me. I have learned this week that because I've been like kind of out of college or whatever, and I'm really far from it, but psychologically, once you get to a certain point, like as far as your retention for your memory, it starts to kind of plateau. And so I had kind of started feeling like, I've been so far removed from school and stuff like that. I didn't think I would be able to keep up with, like, if I was to go back like my peers. But this week I have started back learning like web design coding, so like HTML and stuff like that. And I'm learning it from scratch, and I'm able to retain it super easily. So I have learned that I have not, basically, I ain't lost it. I still got it, so.
Listen, yeah, come on, redirection. I'm going to give you some codes to crack. Crack Bank of America. But, yeah.
Going down myself.
But, yeah, that's really good. Sometimes it takes, bravery to do something that you feel like you can't do, but still do it anyway. So, yeah, I'm really glad that you did that. Anybody else? What is the biggest thing that this week alone has taught you? Right. Right. Yeah. It's easy to forgive everybody else, and it's hard to forgive yourself because you know you. And it's like, you're so much better than this. You can forgive everybody else because they can go home, go to sleep. You up all night about yourself. So forgiving yourself, once again, is a brave thing. A very brave thing. I think the biggest thing I've learned over this past week is to be still. We do a lot during the week, so we can kind of get consumed by school, job, church, this, that, the other. Sometimes I just need to stop. But I feel like, you know, if I don't go as fast as I do, then I feel like I'll spiral out of control. Then I feel like I'll be in my head all the time. But sometimes getting clarity and to get peace sometimes requires being still. You don't have to be busy all the time. It's okay to take a couple naps during the day, because I sure did. But it's okay to take a couple naps. It's okay to sit down, watch a little TV. It's okay to chill with your parents. Talk to them about, you know, the stuff that's been going on with you this week. I was literally on the phone with my dad for about 2 hours before I got here. And we just talking about any and everything. That's how I get my peace, you know. Find your peace. Growing pains gonna happen, but find the peace while you're growing so that once you get there, you'll be happy you got there. So yeah, I told y'all I wasn't gonna be long tonight. So yeah.